earlier, with a 50 to 55 degree angle gouge, the entry cut is a little more difficult to make than if it was a 45 degree angle. But to go across the bottom of this piece and round that curvature is easier to manipulate with the shorter bevel angle. There's a trade-off, basically. There's a trade-off for the entry cut for the shapes down in the bottom. I prefer to work with that shorter bevel angle and make that transition with the bevel rubbing the whole way through the piece, so to speak. Some people prefer to scrape the metal to it with this bowl in the horizontal mode. It's not my way. Right, we're getting it there. Greasing this back now. A bit of better aggressive there. But often with these pieces, I will use the gouge. That's got rid of the majority of it with the wing round back gouge, but a lot of the time I'll finish these up with the square across groin. Exactly the same gouge, but with the wings square to it, not with the wings ground back. When I first started to turn professionally 38 years ago, nobody ground wings and bowl gouges back. This is what they were, square across groin. And probably the first 10 years I turned, that's what I turned with, whether it didn't matter what bowl you made, you used square across groin. And I still use this tool a lot for trimming up the curved, flattish bowls, if you will, and platters and dishes, if you like. I use that back wing across the bottom. I find that gives me a truer surface than it does with the wing ground back, so to speak.
Is that what we call the English grind? Is that?
Yeah. I don't know if you do or not.
Yeah, we don't have a name for it, so it's either traditional grind or English grind.
But this is how they used to come from the manufacturers.
Yeah, that's traditional.
This was the way they came from the manufacturer to you. And everybody worked with them like this, so to speak. And I still use it a lot for finishing things off. This one here is about past its sell-by date, if you like. You can see how short it is in the flute, and this is shorter than, probably lost a couple of inches in any case, this one has. So, well, the problem is, if they get too short, when you try and get in there, the ferrule makes contact with your tool rest, and it doesn't allow you to skid that tool across the surface. So we'll see if I can get in with it. What you have when you do that is a larger surface area of bevel support, which gives you more control in the shaping of the bowl. It means you don't get as much ripple or undulation in there. You don't get the plough feel effect, if you like. You get a much more continuous fluid shape, if you will. So, I'm just going to make one more passing cut and call it quits. Making this as a finished bowl for sale. There is a little ridge there, and there's a little hump there, which needs to be got rid of. Now I'm just going to try and get rid of this little one here. What sometimes happens is the shavings get under the bevel of the tool and stop you cutting as cleanly as you will. Okay, we're almost there. I haven't got it with me, but if I had got a straight across scraper here, there's just like a slight contact curve. I would have picked that up just to finish that shape across there. But for what we're doing, There's one just there which I don't like. Just see if I can do it. The scrapers I've got with me aren't going to allow me to through. No, don't say that. It might happen. It's time to quit, Tom. I know, that's what I'm conscious of. But I've got a little ripple just here that I'm not seemingly able to get rid of. Okay. It isn't 100%, that's for certain. But I know I haven't got a tool with me that's going to... This has got too much crown in it. I need a contour tool which is almost fitting that curve in there. And if I go in there with this, I can't because it will foul on here, sort of thing. I need a straight across scraper with a slight, like a 1/16 of an inch radius on the end of it. That's what I need. And I haven't got one with me. And I'm not getting it quite with the bowl now, unfortunately. And I'm scared of that hole at the bottom. That's what it's about. I know there's a hole in there which might just pop through. We might have a spy hole in the bottom here. I'm struggling here to resolve this in my mind. If I pick up those French curve scrapers, they don't have a broad enough flatness to them. I'm just going to go for here and hope. Normally I'd have a tool which is more compatible with the contour here. Okay, time to quit. Time to quit. I can't quit.
We've all heard that before.
The trouble is sometimes you overwork them and then blow them up. And I'm headed that direction. Okay. I'm going to quit. It isn't because I'd like it to be. Anyway, that now, this whole thing would be sanded up to conclusion at this time if I'd have been happy with that shape. There are a few little ripples in there still which I don't like. So this would be power sanded up to conclusion and the finish you put on. And if this was going to be a Danish oil finished piece, I would have put a liberal coating of it on, wipe the surplus off, set this aside to dry and pick it up the next day. I wouldn't finish these off within 12 hours of apply and finish. You need that oil to harden in there. And what I do, most of my pieces are Danish oil finished, are what I call 1.5 coat finish. I don't like high gloss. If I get high gloss, I cut it back. I like satin sheens, if you will. And you've got to allow it to dry. So what I would do is to have a saucer of Danish oil there, and I would come in there with the Scots-Brite pad, the grey Scots-Brite pad, and cut that back, the amount is put on it in the first time. And normally, I'll put that coat on it again, a liberalish coat, wipe it off, and then burnish it up using cheesecloth, as you all call it over here. We call it mutton cloth, same difference. And after I've done that, more or less what I do is to take on the Velcro discs you can buy in Britain, I'm sure you've got them here, little 3-inch lamb's wool pad, so to speak. And I put that on there and burnish that up for the final finish, if you like, with this, in the drill power polishing, if you like. And it gives a mellow finish. So,
Do you put anything in the land?
no, I don't. Just polish up with the residue of the oil that's there, basically. But what happens with that is the lamb's wool then picks up on the oil, and then it goes sticky, and then it hardens within. But you can soon use that by wiping that lamb's wool pad through turpentine. That's the solvent for it, so it gets rid of that, and the pad's as good as new again, so to speak. And you usually find that you can do 2 or 3 bowls before it gets that sticky that it isn't improving the finish, so to speak. Then I just put a new one on, and then wash them out with turpentine afterwards, and they come back as good as new.
What size? Usually
3 inch. 3 inch.
3 inch?
Yes, they go on a Velcro pad. They do 3 inch and 2 inch in Britain on them. I thought you would have them here.
I got the Scotch-Brite